Hey girl. What do you mean we're halfway through 2025? That can't be right. What? And you're sure this is like confirmed? Oh. If you've also recently been hit with the realization that we are midway through 2025, you are not alone. Because seriously, where did those first 6 months go? It was just January. But we're not gonna panic. We're gonna use this as an opportunity to take control. Today we're doing a mid-year reset. We're gonna make a plan for the second half of 2025 because there is still time to make this our best year ever. So why on earth would we waste it? It is not too late. There are 6 months left of the year to lock in and get it together. So here's the game plan for today. First, I'm going to take you through my mid-year reset in Notion, and I created this to both celebrate the wins from the first half of the year and make a game plan for the second half of the year. From there, we are also going to check back in on those goals we set in January and see what progress we've made and where we need to make up some time. When I review my goals, I also like to do a quick check-in of my vision board to make sure I am actually bringing my vision for the year to life. And then I think it's important to do a little mid-year check-in to take stock of what's going on in your physical space, also make sure you're taking care of yourself, and perhaps most importantly, we're gonna chat a little bit about mindset too. Grab your favorite caffeinated beverage, open up a new tab in Notion, Google Docs, or whatever you like to use, and let's get into it. Step one is to check in on how we're doing so far this year. And this isn't meant to be scary or make you feel bad about what you may or may not have accomplished up to this point in the year. It's really more about getting information so you know what needs to change and you can actually do something about it. If you've been on my channel before, you already know this means I'm in my Notion hub. This is my goals and planning hub where I set all of my personal and professional goals for each year. So from a top level view, I have my quarterly goals, my word of the year, my quote of the moment, and then a bunch of different tabs here. So we are going to tap into the mid-year reset tab. Okay, let's go through the mid-year reset together. So the very first thing I like to do is celebrate some things that went well in the first half of the year. Because even if you're feeling behind, there's a very small likelihood that you did absolutely nothing. So this is a chance to celebrate your wins. If you want to use this exact template, by the way, I will link the Notion Goals and Planning Hub in the description. I have spaces here for 3 things that I did in Q1 that went well. So when I think back on Q1, I was able to relaunch my digital course. I also had a great New York Fashion Week and created lots of content that I was really proud of. And I added a new product to my Etsy shop. Some highlights from Q2 include doing my updated branding shoot and actually going through the process of updating my branding across my website, socials, and everything else. I have a whole behind the scenes vlog of that process, by the way, so I'll link it down in the description. I also finally hired a virtual assistant to help with the podcast. And something that I wasn't expecting, but that ended up being something great that happened in Q2 was I attended a bunch of events hosted by YouTube, which if you know me, you know is literally my dream. I attended an event with YouTube Shopping. I also attended a workshop at the CoverGirl offices, but taught by the YouTube team, talking about ideas for creating great beauty content on the platform. And I also got to have breakfast with a new contact at YouTube that my friend Alyssa introduced me to, Alana, who is working on the Brand Connect feature of the YouTube platform. Now, I already went ahead and dropped in my top 3 areas of growth. I also track my social media growth in my Notion Goals and Planning Hub too. So I just pulled from the 3 platforms where I had the most growth in the first half of this year. I like to fill in these statements for myself. So right now I would say I am excelling in long form weekly content and staying up to date on my posting schedule. Honestly, I want more strategy and scheduling when it comes to short form content. If I could list some top 3 takeaways from the first half of this year, and I'm really trying to look at this mostly through the lens of my business as a full-time content creator, I would definitely say quality over quantity, especially with short form. Right now, I feel like I'm just creating as I come up with things, thinking frantically on the fly, like I need something to post this week, and I'm not remembering my own advice, which is to remember my content pillars, make sure I'm hitting all of them, and create thoughtful content. I would rather put out 2 really high quality reels every week versus coming up with 5 reels that are just draining. They're not actually doing what I want them to do, and I'm posting for the sake of posting and not because I have something to say. I would say takeaway number 2 is integrating my life and my content is my favorite way to create. What I mean by this is, for example, today's video, I would be doing this regardless of whether or not I was filming it, but I do want to film it because I think it's interesting. It could hopefully benefit other people, and it fits into my content pillars here on YouTube of showing you the behind the scenes of content creation and also sharing productivity and self-improvement. So if any of that's of interest to you, by the way, and you're not yet subscribed, there's a red button down there that will make sure that you continue to see my videos as I create them. And I would say my third takeaway is, after creating, marketing and distributing my content is just as important as actually creating it, especially with long form content, like letting people know there's a new blog post up or a new podcast episode out. I would say some unexpected wins from this year was getting some brand deals earlier on in the year. Typically, a lot of my brand deals happen towards the back half of the year. And I would say for unexpected challenges, I'm just gonna put business back-end management. It's a lot to not just be creating and being the front-facing part of your business, but also to manage all of the admin and back-end details of everything. And I do have pretty good systems in place to track everything like this, but I do think there's more I could be doing to improve all of that and streamline it to make it better and to give me fewer headaches in the future. Now, my word of the year for 2025 is enjoy. And I think this might be the first year that I feel like that is not as relevant as it was when I first chose it. And it's not because I'm not enjoying myself by any means, but I think if I were to choose a word for the second half of the year, I would choose focus, because right now I just feel like my attention is being pulled in so many different directions, and I really want to get back to basics, back to what I love, and back to what I know is already working. As for the rest of my mid-year reset, I did go in to identify some income streams that I want to prioritize, and I also went in and laid out some priorities for Q3 and Q4. I've been kind of toying with the idea of doing some version of Vlogtober. I probably wouldn't upload every single day, but maybe doing some specific fun series where I can take you around New York City in the fall. Obviously, that's my favorite time of year here, and I feel like it's a great time to take advantage of that. If I have time, I would also love to host a creator meetup in Hoboken. So I live in Hoboken, which is across the Hudson River from New York City, and there are so many content creators who live here, and I just think it would be really fun to maybe do just like a coffee meetup with a bunch of them. So I might shoot some DMs around and see if I can get people to join in for that. And then I wrote out some specific tasks or monthly goals that I might set for July and August, and I also wrote down the top 3 platforms I want to focus on in the next 6 months, which of course are YouTube, Instagram, and actually also Threads. So now that we've completed that little check-in, the next thing I want to look back on are the goals that I set back in January. And sometimes it is really hard to set year-long goals. I just did a quick scroll through my list, and some of these I'm not going to be able to check off until December because they really are these year-long goals that take time and take that consistency to be able to check off at the end of the year. However, I'm super excited because I have made really good progress on a lot of these, and there are a few that we're able to check off right now. One new task that we can check off of this list is hiring a virtual assistant. I already discussed this as a win from Q2 when I did the mid-year reset, but I do have a virtual assistant, Priya, now helping me out with some stuff for the podcast. And it's been really helpful to offload some of my weekly tasks related to the podcast so that I can focus on more big picture things. Another one on here was a new branding photo shoot for my website and also new podcast cover art. That has been completed as well. And those were both things that I set out to do in Q2 that actually got accomplished. Now, I do kind of have a few vague-ish goals on here: grow Etsy shop, grow email list, grow podcast. These are all things that I kind of left vague intentionally. For me, growing the podcast could mean growing the Instagram account. It could mean growing my weekly downloads. It could mean maybe getting to be a guest on someone else's podcast and getting more exposure to my podcast. It's really up in the air right now, but I just wanted to put it on there so that I have it on my radar, and that is a goal that I'm not really going to assign specific tasks to for a quarter, but more so is something that I just want to keep top of mind throughout the rest of the year. Same thing with the email list and same thing with the Etsy shop. I have already grown my Etsy shop in some sense based on the fact that I added a new digital product earlier this year, and one of my goals for Q3 is going to be to add another digital product to the Etsy shop. Which, if you guys don't know, my Etsy shop is where I post all of my bridal and wedding templates. I created so many when I got married in 2023 that I wanted to be able to get a second use out of them, give them a second life. So my Etsy shop is called The Bold Bride. If you or anyone you know is getting married, you might find some of the templates useful, and they are priced very reasonably. So I will leave that link down in the description box. As I look through some of these other ones, continuing to schedule out posts on LinkedIn and Threads that position me as a thought leader, this is something that I'd like to continue doing all year. I ideally would like to schedule a bunch of posts out through the rest of the summer so that I can be posting but not have to actively remember to do it each week. Qualifying my blog for Mediavine, this is absolutely still a goal of mine for this year. I'm currently in Mediavine's program for smaller sites called Journey, so I am already monetizing my blog through ad revenue. Now, I do have a goal on here that I think I'm going to drop, which was to grow my audience to over 200,000 followers, and I just don't know if this is as much of a tangible goal, and I don't really know why I set that one originally. But one goal that I do really want to focus on is the goal of hitting 100,000 YouTube subscribers this year. YouTube is the platform that I care the most about and that I invest the most time and energy in, and to be able to really grow this platform and hit a milestone like that would be absolutely incredible. And I believe that if I really focus and strategize and not only think about my video ideas, but also think about how I'm packaging them, A/B testing thumbnails, trying different titles. And also, if you have 1 second, I would actually love just any feedback from you. If you go to my channel page and you see a video thumbnail from recently that you liked or a title that made you click, like, please, any and all feedback is super appreciated so that I can hear what you like and what's working, so that I can hopefully continue to expand on those ideas and do more of that in the future. Take 1 week off from Instagram and TikTok 3 times a year. I've already done 1 week. I have another week hopefully on the horizon for this month at some point. Read 25 books. I've currently read 13 books. I actually did a podcast episode where I shared my mid-year reading updates for 2025, so I can link that episode to watch on YouTube if you want to hear more about that. Working out 3 times a week, travel permitting, I have been really on top of this, which I'm proud of. I will put a little video clip on the screen of my Peloton app to show my progress. It's not something that I am really posting about that much on Instagram, but honestly, having the Peloton bike and the app really does keep me accountable and keeps me consistent, just because there's no excuses. Like, it's in my living room. And overall, I'm feeling pretty good about my progress for a lot of these, and so much of it is about just being consistent and keeping that up for the entirety of the year. But I think that setting the quarterly priorities and taking the time now to look back and reflect on this list is what's going to give me the insights that I need to give myself weekly tasks and give myself monthly projects that all work towards these goals. Now it's time to do a vision board review. So if you missed my video where I created this vision board, here is a little look at what was on my vision board for 2025. I feel like there's all different types of inspiration on here, from the ways that I want to ideally spend my morning. You can see the Peloton bike and matcha and coffee, to some trips that I want to take or I have actually already taken, including trips to Italy and also the Caribbean, which is coming up later this month. And then even just sprinkled throughout here is honestly some of life's little joys for me, like charcuterie boards, martinis, a beautiful tablescape podcast that I like to listen to. So there is a lot going on here. But I decided to take a scroll back through my camera roll for the last 6 months of the year and see if I could identify any images that aligned with what I had on my vision board. And I feel like a lot of people tell you how to create a vision board, but to me, this is an important part of the vision board process to check in on it and see if I am on track to almost recreating it in my own life. And if there's anything that I haven't gotten to yet that I can add into my mid-year reset checklist and my goals and planning template for the rest of the year. But actually first, let's make some lunch because I'm low-key really hungry. I'm clearly having Italy withdrawals, so I'm making a little sandwich here with tomato, the unexpected cheddar spread from Trader Joe's, some prosciutto, and some balsamic. Absolutely inhaled that as per usual. So now for step 3, I'm going to do probably like a 20-minute tidy just to clean up the apartment a little bit. It's actually looking to be in great shape right now, but I do want to do my dishes over here, put away some laundry, just a couple of things that will visually declutter the space, so when I look out into the apartment, I'm not seeing these little piles and pockets of clutter. That always helps me feel a lot more focused and know that I can approach things with a bit more of a clear mind and a clear head. And we're gonna make this fun, so if you need something to listen to while you are doing a 20-minute tidy too, obviously I have my podcast, Create and Consume, or if you just want a fun summer playlist, I recently made one on Spotify that I can link as well. I think I'm going to listen to Game of Roses and listen to them talk about Love Island and Bachelor in Paradise, because that is what probably like 70% of my brain is right now. And I'm not mad about that. I'm just leaning in. I'm just a girl. It's the next day, and I thought I would show you guys how I take care of myself with my morning routine. So typically on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, I will start my day with a Peloton ride. Today I'm doing Cody Rigsby's Britney Spears ride, so it was quite intense to say the least. And then I'll usually just quickly rinse off in the shower, wash my face, wash my body, and just stand in the water for a few minutes to wake myself up. After I get out of the shower, I like to take a minute to make the bed. It always makes me feel like I've done at least one thing when I start the day by doing that. And today I'm also adding in some red light therapy. This is my Current Body Series 2 LED mask, and I just put this on for 10 minutes while I scroll through my phone. Then I like to make myself a coffee, check my email, just get a couple of things done, and I always have breakfast. Today I am having a smoothie that I made, and honestly, it's so fruity and delicious. So after doing a few things this morning to take care of my physical body, we're going to move on to step number 5. That is less about this and more about this. I wanted to focus a bit on mindset in this video because I feel like mine has been a little bit all over the place, but in general, I am a really big believer in the power of positive thinking. And I'm also a big believer that we can all really write our own stories. And if there's something in your life that doesn't feel aligned to you or that just isn't serving you anymore, that it's your decision to decide whether or not you want that thing to stay in your life. There are probably plenty of you watching this who know way more than I do about manifestations and affirmations and all of these things that really can influence your mindset, but I want to try to lean into this stuff a bit more. So I'm going to try an exercise where I write out how I want the second half of the year to go, but to write it out in the present tense as if it is December 2025, and basically as if I've already achieved all of the things that I want to. And I'm hoping that this will allow me to visualize what my year will look like and give me a more clear picture of what I can do now to ensure that that is my reality in December. So I think I'm gonna take this out to the balcony. I haven't sat out there in so long, and just write out some things that I would like to see for myself by the end of the year. think I'm gonna start doing that each time I do a start of year or mid-year reset, because it's really cool to just write it out as though it's happened already, because I think it makes me believe that it can happen even more. And then something I think I might start doing every morning is actually read some of these daily affirmations that I have in my Notion hub out loud before I start my workday. So these are very related to content creation, but hopefully you can use these as inspiration to create your own daily affirmations that you can read or say out loud at the start of a new day. I'm here to learn, grow, and have a good time. Every minute counts. Even if my work inspires, entertains, or educates one person, I will have accomplished something. I strive to get 1% better each and every day. Comparison is the thief of joy. I know my value, and I'm not afraid to say no to things that don't serve me or relationships that don't align with me, because I'm leaving space for something better to fill it. And when things aren't working, I'm not afraid to experiment and try new things to find a better solution. And that, my friends, is what the mid-year reset is all about. If you've made it all the way to this point in the video, please leave a calendar emoji in the comments down below so I know who the real ones are. And thank you so much for joining me for this mid-year reset. I hope it inspired you to take the time to make a plan for the second half of this year so that you can truly accomplish everything that you want to get done. Don't forget to subscribe and stick around for more videos from me, and if you want to see a more in-depth video where I plan my goals for the year in Notion, I will leave it as the up next recommendation on the screen. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.